What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including Logan Paul's massive deal with WWE, The Rock finds out he has more siblings, Jeff Hardy pleads not guilty, Cena off SummerSlam, an injured star leaving AEW, is Shirai leaving WWE, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out Wrestlelamia.co.uk and our non-wrestling channel, Incredible. And now let's hit the intro and get straight into our first story. Now before we get into that, we'd like to thank DraftKings for sponsoring this video. Now it's time for UFC 276, and DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered. Wager with the official sports betting partner of UFC, as new customers who bet $5 on UFC 276 get $100 in free bets. Your pick of wagers including knockout, submission, or even judge's decision. UFC 276 promises a lot of great matchups, as fans of the middleweight division should enjoy current UFC middleweight champion Israel Adesanya defend the championship against Jared Cannonier. Now, Cannonier must overcome height and reach disadvantage if he wants that title, something I don't see happening. But as exciting as the main event should be, the fight I'm looking forward to the most is UFC featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski's third bout against previous champion Max Holloway. Holloway came up short in his last bid for the title, but not without controversy. Holloway has a lot to prove and Volkanovski can't afford to make any mistakes. I'm counting on Max to regain the championship. I'm also interested in the UFC women's bantamweight champion Miesha Tate's title defense against Lauren Murphy. Both women have held UFC gold and also have experience in other MMA groups such as Strikeforce and Invicta. This one is too close to call. There's also some preliminary fights that promise excitement, as keeping an eye on the flyweight battle between Jessica Eye and Casey O'Neill, as well as Sean Strickland's fight with Alex Pereira, and I'm rooting for Cassie and Sean. Now if you're looking for a big payday, DraftKings Sportsbook's new UFC feature same-game parlays is for you. Now combine multiple bets such as which fighter will win, the number of KOs and more for your chance at an even bigger payout. DraftKings is the only sportsbook that offers same-game parlays on UFC events. You can play even if Sportsbook isn't available in your state. Check out DraftKings Daily Fantasy, which has huge contests for UFC 276. And new DraftKings customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now, use promo code Wrestlelamia, throw down $5 on UFC 276 and get $100 in free bets no matter what. That's code Wrestlelamia this Saturday at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC. Our first story looks at Logan Paul's massive deal with WWE. Atop of the news today is another big signing for the WWE, as Logan Paul has signed a multi-year deal to become a WWE superstar. Dave Meltzer reported in this week's Wrestling Observer newsletter that YouTube star and boxer Logan Paul has signed a multi-year deal with WWE to appear on selected television tapings and pay-per-view shows this year and next year. It's important to note that Paul is expected to make a number of appearances as opposed to other celebrities like Bad Bunny, who just show up once a year. Ariel Helwani tweeted about some of the details for Paul's deal, saying, "Additional details per sources. Deal includes an undisclosed number of premium live events across 2022 and 2023. He'll likely, I'm told, have his first big appearance at SummerSlam, but could be on television before that." As for when to expect the YouTuber, Meltzer mused, the belief is that his first show of the new deal will be at SummerSlam on 30th July at Nissan Stadium in Nashville. Miz on television teased that there will be a tag team, but it came across as if they were building Paul versus Miz. The word on Paul returning was expected since days earlier he posted photos of him training in the ring. And one of the big questions is whether the WWE Universe, not to be confused with the AEW Galaxy, will accept him as a babyface. You may recall that Paul told the WWE he wanted to work as a babyface, hence The Miz turning on him after their Wrestlemania bout. While The Miz is great at generating heat, that doesn't mean that fans will accept the YouTuber as a face. What do you think of Logan Paul's signing? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, The Rock finds out he has more siblings. It seems that Sports Illustrated recently reported about 7 brothers and sisters who discovered their father was Rocky Johnson, which makes them half-siblings to The Rock. While The Rock is well known as a third-generation wrestler, Rocky Johnson's contact with his other children was rare or even non-existent. The Sports Illustrated story details the emotional ordeal the children suffered not knowing their father. In at least one case, they tried to reach Rocky Johnson only for him to hang up on them repeatedly. Thankfully, DNA testing was able to connect the brothers and sisters, and several of them recently met up for a family reunion. The Sports Illustrated article makes it clear that each of The Rock's half-siblings makes clear this is not a story about their wrestler-turned-celeb half-brother who remains actively involved in the lives of his own 3 children. 2 of Rocky's children commented, "Dwayne has nothing to do with the decisions that his dad made. He doesn't even know who we are. And Dwayne doesn't owe us anything." Another added, "We just want to be recognized. We sat on the back burner forever. Rocky was our dad just as well as Dwayne's." Or one of Rocky Johnson's daughters, Lisa Pervez, a filmmaker who is currently working on a documentary about her experience. According to Sports Illustrated's story, her film, which is still in production, is tentatively titled Just Call Me Lisa. She said she's already faced personal attacks over the project, but she wants people to know, "I'm talking about this now because I've been silent my whole life about what hurts me the most. It's time to finally have my voice heard so I can be free of my painful past." What do you guys think of this story? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Jeff Hardy pleads not guilty. A PW Insider's Mike Johnson is reporting that Jeff Hardy has pleaded not guilty in charges stemming from his recent DUI arrest. This follows the news that Jeff Hardy entered rehab earlier this month following his suspension from AEW. According to PW Insider's story, court records indicate that Jeff Hardy filed a written plea of not guilty in regard to his DUI arrest in Florida earlier this month. The plea was filed on 28th June. With Hardy believed to be in rehab, it's likely the court allowed him to enter a plea by writing so he can focus on receiving treatment. PW Insider provided details on Hardy's case, noting Hardy, 44, was arrested at 9:55 a.m. and charged with DUI, alcohol or drugs, third offense within 10 years, driving while license cancelled, suspended, revoked, and violation of restrictions placed on driver's license. The primary charge is a felony under Florida law, punishable up to 5 years imprisonment should Hardy be convicted. The others would fall under misdemeanors. Although Hardy is looking up to several years in prison, it's too early to tell what type of plea deal his counsel will negotiate or whether he'll take the case to trial. If his legal counsel were to discover some sort of procedural defect with his arrest, it's possible he'd roll the dice on a trial. Next up, John Cena off SummerSlam. Is Cena going to wrestle Austin Theory at SummerSlam? While there has been some intense speculation that the 16-time world champion's recent 20-year anniversary celebration was going to set up a match between Cena and Theory, there may have been a change of plans. Dave Meltzer recently noted on this week's Observer that at one point the idea was Cena versus Theory, and there was a tease on television this week. However, Cena is not announced for any future television dates, and given how many tickets he moved in Laredo, if he was announced for a show, he'd move more tickets right now than anyone except Dwayne Johnson. So it makes no sense to advertise him, but they wouldn't do such a match without more of an angle. So the match, which is clearly a direction, may also be delayed for Wrestlemania. With SummerSlam just 4 weeks away, Cena would know if his Hollywood schedule is open enough to allow him to wrestle. One would think WWE would milk as many Cena TV appearances as possible, as he's a known box office commodity. Do you guys think Cena will appear at SummerSlam? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Jordynne Grace headed to AEW. Is current Impact Knockouts champion Jordynne Grace headed to AEW? Well, that's a rumor that's been making the rounds recently, as a 27-year-old has made a name for herself not only as a pro wrestler, but as a powerlifter, achieving champions in both endeavors. As sometimes happens, rumors begin flying thanks to the wrestler's business dealings with someone from another promotion. Fightful Select reports a story ran today implying Jordynne Grace could be headed to AEW as their music producer Mickey Ruckus has produced a theme song for her. Fightful got wind of this a couple of weeks ago and actually reached out to Jordynne Grace. She clarified that Mickey Ruckus has produced songs for her for quite a while, even dating back before AEW existed. While Grace could add a lot to AEW's women's division, Fightful is reporting in May 2021, Jordynne Grace signed a multi-year extension with Impact Wrestling, which would put her with the company until at least spring 2023. Grace seems to be happy in Impact, but it's likely she'll get offers from the WWE and AEW when her contract expires. Next up is an injured star leaving AEW ASAP. Speaking of All Elite Wrestling, it looks like the promotion could be losing former Inner Circle member Santana, who was injured during this week's Dynamite. Now Ringside News is reporting on a rumor that Santana's AEW contract is expiring soon and he might not be interested in staying there. There is strong speculation on the front of Santana leaving the promotion. Fans think he has been looking forward to leaving the company and has dropped hints on social media. He mentioned a 28th April 2022 tweet from Santana saying 126 days and another one on 27th June 2022 tweeting soon. They also commented on speculation from Fightful Sean Ross Sapp that there may be heat between Santana and his tag team partner Ortiz. I would like to remind you that this story falls into the rumors category and the story of heat between Ortiz and Santana remains just a wild rumor. If Santana does leave AEW, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Ortiz. They debuted at the end of 2019's Double or Nothing pay-per-view, joining the Inner Circle when Dynamite debuted on TNT. Next up, Io Shirai leaving WWE. Could Io Shirai be on her way out of WWE? It's looking like a possibility, as Meltzer noted in the first July Wrestling Observer that Io Shirai has not signed her newest contract offer. She will be a free agent next month if she doesn't sign her new deal. She had told people in Japan that when her contract was up, she wanted to return to Japan and be closer with her family. Meltzer also discussed when Io could return to Japan if she chose to do so, as unlike with Kairi Sane, who had to wait until end of her contract because she left mid-contract and agreed to work as a WWE rep in Japan so she could move back home, Shirai would be free and clear. There's no exception in Stardom that she will definitely return at that point, but legally she could. Would you guys like to see Shirai stay with WWE? Let us know in the comments down below. And finally, an AEW Star Cut from Cena's Tribute. And last but not least, this week's John Cena celebration featured a number of surprise appearances by AEW stars who sent video messages congratulating Cena on 20 years in the WWE. While fans got to see former superstars Chris Jericho, Daniel Bryan and Big Show, one star they didn't see was Mark Henry. It wasn't because Henry didn't want to appear, but according to Meltzer, Henry made a video but it wasn't aired by WWE. But there you have it folks, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.